Hi, it's JP Smith and welcome back to Boxing Saves Lives. In this week's edition, I am speaking to Dave Coard, who is a Boxfit coach, and I'm going to be chatting to Dave about his experience of how he's using the sport of boxing, his history in the sport of boxing, and how he's using it to improve the lives of people. So, I'm just going to wait for Dave to add himself on here, and we're going to have a good chat and see how we go. I haven't met Dave before. We've known each other through Instagram and through Facebook and that, and he sent me a message a few weeks ago and we chat over and back, and I just decided, well, let's have a chat with Dave now and see how we go in terms of having a chat. And because a lot of the time in Boxing Saves Lives, what we'll do is we'll focus on younger people and crime prevention, but actually someone like Dave is working with people who are maybe that bit older, and obviously it's important to acknowledge that the important work he's doing in terms of improving mental health, in terms of improving physical health, so let's have a chat. Another interesting one, because like I said, I haven't spoken before other than seeing him on Facebook and Instagram, so let's see where we go. Right, just waiting on Dave to join us now. There we go. Hi Dave, how are you?
Hello, mate. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm not so bad, not so bad. Listen, I was just doing a little bit of an intro there before we came together, and
Okay.
I was just saying to people that we don't know each other. I've seen you on Facebook and Twitter, or sorry, on
Yeah.
Instagram, and again the other way around. But I thought, now why don't we just kind of bang our heads together and actually have a chat? Because I spent the last few weeks focusing on Boxing Saves Lives and all of that, and our
Yeah.
young people and the changes it's making to people. And I thought, you know what, it was easy to forget the things that are happening outside of boxing gyms, and actually a lot of work you're doing in terms of Boxfit is something that wouldn't normally come into the remit, but it's still incredibly important, I think.
Yeah. By the way, the job you're doing is brilliant, mate. Hands up. Well done. It's excellent what you're doing out there, and it's good to bring it into light. Yeah. Basically, what I do now, I'm already a boxing coach, a British Boxing Border Control coach, and all that. So I've been
Yeah.
through all the systems all that years ago in London. I moved from London up to Luton, and I
Yeah.
started the Dunstable Boxing Club many years ago.
Right. Yeah.
And we had a lot of problems when we first started because local London boy coming into the area, they didn't like it. And local ABA was a bit strict with me. But we got going. We got a lot of lads come from Houghton Regis and
Yeah.
Farley Hill who joined us. And we got them, we went through all the system, got them boxing. And a lot of the lads are still, believe it or not, they're in the 50s, still with me now. They're still
Right.
training with me now and still getting on. I was out running this morning, some of the guys this morning. So it's, and the
Fantastic.
girls, and we've got girls as well. But with the mental health side of it, I got into, I like doing fitness myself. We do silly things like double marathons, triathlons and Ironmans, but we do it for charity. So we do
Yeah.
everything for charity, raise a lot of money. And the boxing side, when I got out of boxing because of the politics, I kept my boxing license going. I still train fighters, but I brought it into more of the fitness side of it, looking at people, like you say, a little bit older, getting them into it. And when they come out of boxing, they thought, where am I going to go? And they didn't know where to go. And
Yeah.
people literally go, you've probably seen it yourself. But once boxing goes, they don't know what to do. Because all of a sudden you're up there, you're training hard and you've got something to train for. You get respect from people and keeping out of trouble, obviously. And all of a sudden, we got back into our fitness, and I started fitness. I've got a personal training license. I got into coaching, and now I do Boxfit, which is like my own company. Been
Mm.
going for about 20 years now, and it's brilliant. We do it in halls, we do it outside at the minute, and we still get the fighters. We still get Kay Prosper training with me all the time. We get
Yeah.
Kay
Oh,
a lot.
right. Okay. Yeah. 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 I've seen a few
Kay,
photographs of
Kay,
you, kid.
yeah, Kay and me have trained. I've took him on many a good runs. He'll tell you some stories about it. With Paul Webb, I remember my first meeting with Paul Webb. Paul came to me and said, I want to help a few of the guys out. And we went running over the back of Sunderland Hills with me, Kay, and Paul was on a bike. Paul will tell you this, Paul was struggling to keep up with the two of us. So we had to go back for Paul and get him in there. And he won't like me saying that, but he did. But Paul was, as you say, I think you've got him on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Terrific guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I helped the guys at Hockwell Ring a few years ago, and got them all a little bit fit. They've got themselves well established now and doing brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
brilliant coaching. Alan Baptiste, we talked about Alan a while back, and another great coach. A lot of his fighters don't realise the calibre that man has got,
Yeah.
and he's a true gentleman.
He
And so I
is.
was years ago. I was in another corner when he fought Paul Gamble for I think it was a Southern Area title, and we thought we had it. We were in London. We thought, oh, we got this Baptiste. We're boxing. Alan, he boxed the head off him, and Paul is unbelievable. And
Yeah.
lots of respect, gentleman, very nice fella.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I did an interview with Alan about, I don't know, about 2 years ago, and I was moving house at the time. And just for anybody who's watching this later, Alan Baptiste is one of the coaches at Hockwell Ring Gym in Luton, and Paul Webb was like one of the joint owners of Hockwell Ring Boxing Gym.
yeah,
And I did an interview with Alan, who was like, when I spoke to him, he's had about 30 odd fights, and he was telling me about the history of boxing. This is great for me and great for young people to understand it, because it's kind of going a little bit back this way. We had so many people who would just, jump in cars and travel to go and watch boxing every couple of weeks. There was no 3 months between fights. Sometimes he'd box every couple of weeks. It was amazing.
yeah.
And, talking to him, and it was weird when you look at his record, and people are outside of boxing. It's kind of a lesson there, is that you look at his record and you're like, oh, he's lost quite a few and all that. But when I spoke to him, I said, why did you start boxing? He said, I wanted to be a champion. If anybody else looked at that, he just looks like a journeyman. I was like, no. I wanted to be a champion. I really wanted to go for it. It's a massive. It just goes to show how boxing can build that drive inside somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it's respect so much. I mean, you've got look at now at the minute, some lovely talent around. There's brilliant talent, and we obviously come from a history of. When I moved from London to Luton, I didn't even know Luton, to be honest. Luton was like it was up north to us. So coming to Luton, I came here and I loved it, and I met some really nice kids, rough kids, some rough kids, but salt of the earth, nice kids. They've grown up nice, and some. I grew up when I started at Repton Boxing Club with Darky Smith, and then I went to Finchley when Finchley first started. And Finchley's still there now, the same place.
So
and
give us a quick brief, just before you get there. Tell me how you actually got to boxing to begin with, then, because obviously Repton and other decent clubs and still very prominent clubs like Finchley, where Frankie Story trains. But tell me how you got to be into boxing to begin with, then.
Well, when I was a kid in London, I moved to a place called Kentish Town, and my next door neighbour happened to be Darky Smith. I don't know if you've heard of Darky.
I heard of the name.
Yeah, he's a coach. He's a coach, and everyone knew him. Great, one of the best coaches. John L. Frankham was his best mate. All the Frankhams, I trained alongside the Frankhams, the Shenquins, all the lads and that.
Yeah.
And I was brought up I went to Repton first as a kid with Darky, because he was my next door neighbour and he dragged me along. And when Darky moved from Repton to Finchley, I stayed with Repton for a while, but then Darky said, come on, you're coming with me at Finchley. Joined Finchley, and that's when they had we fought, we all fought through the national boys clubs, we all fought good people. We all got I remember going to Bletchley Leisure Centre for the quarterfinals, the NABCs, and Finchley had about 8 fighters in the quarterfinals, so we were like the club to beat. And growing up with these lads it's taught me so much, and I mean they were true fighters, and but respect. You'd pay to watch us spar. Not me. You'd pay to watch these guys spar, because they were such brilliant lads, and they took it. So yeah, that was my story basically. My next door neighbour got me into it. Never looked back. Always, I went the right way. I mean, my friends used to go out drinking. I'd go out and I'd be the designated driver, because I wouldn't drink. Because I was, I loved boxing. And then I got my trainer's license. I was actually one of the youngest British Boxing Board of Control coaches when I was 18. I got my first coach. Yeah, I was still fighting. And I knew coaching. I boxed a guy called Duke McKenzie in the quarterfinals.
I know Duke McKenzie. Yeah, Leon McKenzie's, all that family.
Yeah, and I knew once he beat me, that was me. I boxed another lad who beat Duke McKenzie, a guy called Sean Anton. I boxed him, and we had a great fight. And I knew that's as far as I was going. Right. So I went into coaching. got my coaching license, helped the juniors first at Finchley, and then worked my way up. And I never looked back. I loved it. The boxing body control, because I got a professional license before my amateur license, that's when the problems started, because amateurs and pros weren't allowed to mix.
Right.
So when I came to Luton, they found out I had a pro license, and all hell. But to be honest with the ABA in London, they backed me. They said, well, no, we need experience into the amateur rankings. So it turned around, and touch wood, things went really well. And we got in with the British Police Trojan Boxing Club, which was Barry Jones, who used to run the Trojan Boxing Club. And we used to go to their shows and help them out in the shows. Our lads used to go and fight in their shows. And yeah, we went from there really, and we had some good fighters, you know, but we enjoyed it. And then that was my boxing side. I wasn't going to be a champion. I was just like a club fighter really. You know, I'd go out and give a good account of myself.
Yeah.
Got a couple of good fighter of the night shows. Great, loved it. Then I went into my training, and now I say I'm just fitness mad. I say I take Kay out. In fact, me and Kay were talking the other day. He said, when can we go out running again? Because we go out running and we do exercise in the middle of the field. Like we run up the steps and stretching and stuff like that. And I trained another Clint. You know Clint. What's his Alan's boy Clint when he was fighting.
Yeah.
He came for a while with us, and he loved it. Another nice kid. And yeah, so I still stay with the boxers. I've got a couple of lads who I'm training now, who are going to start fighting. They're trying to get carded for next year, and they're good lads. Good lads.
Very good.
They're going to be, but they're not bought yet.
Right, gotcha. I mean, you know what you're showing there, Dave, is that you're showing a great insight into the world of boxing, because you know, when you talked about places like Finchley and that, it's important to remind people, because if some people might know a bit about boxing, might think of Finchley, might think about Anthony Joshua, because he came from Finchley. But what you're telling here is that, you know, the history of these boxing clubs has gone way beyond, you know, so much further back than what we can see on the surface for most people. And also, you know, also the dedication that's involved to keep these clubs going. And you're a good example of that, because even though you say you didn't want to be you didn't think you were going to be a champion, it didn't stop you staying in the sport. And even now, years later, you are still coaching. It's amazing how that bug gets you. Yeah.
But yeah, it is. I mean, me personally, I think once you're a boxer and it's in your, you don't want to lose it. You don't. The adrenaline. I mean, my hats off to any lad or any girl who gets up them steps to get into a ring. To me, they're already a champion, because getting into that ring with the people around you, that's what a buzz.
Yeah.
And what an experience to get in there and think, wow, you know, you're in the game, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
And any fighter will tell you that walking up them steps is an achievement straight away.
Yeah.
So, and all the hundreds of coaches, and even the people that like the seconds who hand up to you and stuff like that, 100%, like yourself. I mean, what you're doing to keep everyone alive. I mean, say Luton's got a massive, at the minute it's massive. By you doing your videos and showing people what it's all about, and people who don't want to fight can still train.
I can't emphasize that enough to people. You know, when I started this whole project to begin with, I said it isn't going to be just about the boxers themselves. I want people to understand all of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, the great benefits that coaches like yourself are giving to people who you will never read about. And I won't ever have to write about them in the newspaper, because they won't ever be in the ring and getting involved in fight. They were literally just enjoying the benefits of boxing.
Absolutely.
Without all that other stuff.
But yeah, we're just stoked. I mean, it's like this morning, the people I took out running this morning, you'd think, you know, I think there was 3 ex-boxers with me this morning, both 51 and 52, fit as a fiddle. They could get in the ring tomorrow. I'll be honest with you, they could. They've done 10 rounds on the pads for me. You know, and yeah, they feel it, but you know, they love it. But going back to the boxing side, where I'm doing now is we invite anyone to come along. We say it's an all-level class. We do boxing movements. We do boxing. It's based around a boxing, like 3-minute rounds. They'll do the circuit for 3 minutes, have a 30-second recovery. I know we should have longer, but we don't. But you know, stuff like that. But yeah, with boxing, I can't. I'm so passionate and love it.
Yeah, I can hear that in your voice. I can see that. Fantastic.
And it's given me a life really. I mean, from a young kid, I know you hear this story, everyone says, oh, we could have gone the wrong way, we could have, yeah, we could have, and I think I've had a good life, so I can't complain about it. I've got 2 lovely grandchildren, I've got girls, and they've all grown up, and they were all into fitness, so
Yeah.
I think, wow, and I do online fitness classes now because of what's happening, and it's nice to see the numbers that are coming on there and doing it,
Yeah.
and it's all based around boxing, you know.
So
So,
what was it
yeah.
like you starting out when you moved on from your coaching role and then decided you were going to start your Boxfit? What was that like starting that out? Because what type of people did you think you were going to begin focusing on, Dave, when you decided to do that?
Yeah, it was a lot of I've been, to be honest with you, it's a lot of ladies were
Yeah.
coming, and the ladies loved it. I mean, press ups, burpee jumps, they were loving it. Punching, oh, they used to punch the hell out of me. They still do, they still do. And I've had a few right hands for the ladies where I've said 1, 2, and they've gone 1, 2, 3, and bang, oh, you know. And but yeah, so it started off with a lot of ladies. Now it's the men are coming in, mixing it. I say in our classes, as I say before, a regular K's a regular. I know I keep saying his name, but he's a regular to the class because it's a different type of fitness for him. He's got his boxing and his pad work, and he comes to us and he'll still work. I mean, he'll tell you himself
Yeah.
what he goes out, right? And he loves it, you know. But and so it's the mixture of people, and it's nice to introduce Kay when he's going for a fight. I like him to come to my classes, and I introduce him to people. I said, look, this lad's local. Let's get supporting him, and he'll buy still some tickets in our place, which is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Get behind the local fighters, and you know, get them out there.
And that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just about that, really.
It's interesting you mentioned about, you know, the women and that getting involved in it, because when I spoke to a couple of people over the last 3 or 4, I spoke to Michelle Nelson, Tacey Gallagher, and Laura Payne, who I hadn't spoken to before, and they all spoke about being in a boxing gym, being the only girl in the gym, and how, you know, women-only boxing classes were important to them. And it just goes to show from what you're telling me, you have women and men in your class, in yours. But I wonder if it's just that perception of actually being inside a proper boxing gym that puts women off, whereas what you can offer them is actually something that seems maybe that bit more relaxed, that they can actually just get more involved in without actually worrying about the big massive ring. Actually, it could be that. It could be a big overimposing ring that they're looking at going, I don't want to be in there.
Yeah,
what you're offering looks
definitely.
like a great
And you're up
alternative.
there,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree with you, yeah, because they do pad work and they do some brilliant pad work. They do what a boxer does, but it's in a different environment. I think I agree with you, yeah. Because once you've got a ring up there, you look up, wow, you're on stage. I mean, I think all coaches are like actors, so that they're acting to the people, and they've got to perform. You've got to make people feel good, and you've got to look after people. And, you know, it's like with the mental health side of it. I'm actually doing companies now where I train the companies. The managing director sends the people to me. I won't mention local company names because I'm not sure that big, but the managing directors of some big companies in Luton, I train the managers for mental health, and some of the different types of fitness, and they come and they love it. Yeah. And even the manager, in fact, I had a meeting with one of the managing directors last week, and he said to me, you know what, this has taken off so much, we're going to keep going, because people who I thought would never come are actually doing it.
Yeah.
And like Kane's last fight in Dunstable, a lot of the lads, I was talking to them, never been into boxing, I said, well, come and watch this kid fight. They all went over and watched the Kane, and they loved it. They said, oh my God, the atmosphere was brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's good for Paul and his new company. It's good for Kay because it's a local fight. And I think there was another guy who fought on that night, and I thought he boxed brilliant. He works for TUI, the guy.
Ali Malik.
Yeah, my wife actually works for TUI and knows him. And she said, oh, you're going to see this young lad. And when I watched, I was so impressed with the kid.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah. And he was for his, I think it was only was it his second fight?
Second, yeah.
He was the kid was so on it and controlled. I thought, what? And I was quite impressed, man. Brilliant.
Yeah, you know what? You made a really good point there, Dave, because, you know, the pinnacle of boxing is, of course, you know, becoming a professional boxer and trying to win titles. But actually, when I talk about getting people into boxing gyms through this, you know, and talking to people about it, I kind of forget about the part of Yeah, you know what? Getting somebody to come to a show to actually watch somebody boxing is actually just quite a good way as well. Do you know what I mean? Because that kind of reverberations to get somebody through the doors of a gym. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. And while I've been doing this, I've been looking from the point of view of, just, improve your mental health and that and how we can do it through these videos. But actually, get somebody, come along to a show, have a look, see what's going on. And that could be that little hook that gets them, to come out and give it a wee go. Brilliant.
definitely, because the atmosphere is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you see all the characters around the ringside, and it's great. I love just sitting back, looking around. I think fights are brilliant, obviously.
Yeah.
I just I sit back and I watch, and it's brilliant.
It's like a proper night out, isn't it? Even when you go to York Hall or even that night does, it's like a proper night out. People are all dressed up and glammed and enjoying it. You see some of the old characters from around the town, around Bedfordshire, coming in there, and you're like, wow, just they've forgotten more than I even know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the old days when we used to, I'll go back to the old days again. We used to fight at the Cafe Royal and the Royal Albert Hall, and what an experience! And you'd think, I'd like to go back and fight there. I took my grandchildren down to Wembley, not Wembley Stadium, I think it's Wembley Arena, and I remember I boxed at Wembley Conference Centre, and I actually boxed and I was showing my grandkids, oh, Granddad boxed in there, and they went, no way, and it's lovely, So for these fighters who are coming up now, when they look back and they tell the grandkids, I fought in there, and it's brilliant.
That's amazing.
It's really, really nice, yeah.
That's a good point. I go down to York Hall and see the boys and that, but you forget sometimes they are making history, a lot of these boys, and it will be something that they will hold on to forever. And I think that's why I still do a little bit of writing for the Luton News. I'm not crazy on Instagram, because I think that you can show kids a lot about things on Instagram in a few years, but there's nothing wrong with, there's nothing better than having an out cutting from the newspaper that says, look, he fought on there. You know what I mean? A little bit of a write-up. I know people love that, no matter what age they are.
Oh, you can't. I mean, I've got one of the newspaper guys, Steve, long time ago, used to work for the Herald and Post.
Okay.
They spent a day with us. Steve, I can't remember his second name. He's not there now, but he spent the day and alive with us. He came and trained with us. Yeah. So, because we were doing Ironman triathlons, it was like you got up at 6 o'clock, you'd go for a run, you'd have your breakfast, and then the lads would all meet up and we'd do a bit of spinning, then we'd go for a swim in the river or the lakes, and he couldn't believe it. And he spent the day with us and he'd done the write-up, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. And it's to see, and then I've still got the clippings here. You see the write-up, you think, God, I've actually done that,
Yeah,
it's quite,
yeah. Perfect. That's exactly how I want our boxers to look back and go, oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, I didn't realise that. Yeah. Is that how that went? Because obviously we all relive things. And actually when you read something like, oh wow, actually that happened, it's pretty even better,
Yeah, brilliant. But we keep talking about us. It's people like you guys are keeping it alive and keeping these interviews going. It's great. I watch all your interviews and I sit and I'm amazed and I think, oh, it's brilliant. And I'll continue to watch them as well. And hopefully these interviews will go wide and more people will see it. Because as you say, you boxing saves lives. It does actually save lives. Let's be honest, it does. I mean, these kids need something in all backgrounds. And they need one of the kids who I'm training now. His dad's he's a nice kid. He's well educated and I actually took him to a couple of the boxing rings just to show him. I said, look, I'm going to throw you in the deep end here. I took him. Oh yeah, I took him to a couple of boxing. I'm not going to say what gyms I took him to.
Yeah.
I threw him in the deep end. I said, get in there and train. And I stood back and I didn't get involved. I said to the coach, do what you want with him, coach. I want him to see what it's like. Yeah. It's nice training with me in a nice atmosphere, and he loved it. Yeah. He loved it. Perfect. And I thought, good, that's what I want to see.
Yeah. Listen, thank you for saying so much about the videos and that. I mean, it's just weird for me sitting in front of the camera as opposed to the 3 or 4 years behind it. So I'm still kind of getting used to that part of it. But I enjoy doing it. And what I like about it, Dave, is having a little conversation with young people, especially young amateur boxers who are so quiet in the gym. And next thing you pull them in for an interview, or you know what you do, you kind of lasso them into an interview and you put them in, and then they start chatting. And that little thing, that little spark of them doing a little interview, it just boosts their confidence. And then they'll see you at a boxing show and they'll come up chatting to you and all that. And it's such a nice lift to them as young people. It's fun. I love that part of it.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's what it's about, isn't it? It gives people confidence. I mean, when I was a little kid, I had no confidence. And then boxing gave me confidence.
Yeah.
Not to be cocky and say, oh, I can knock someone out or anything like that. You're just confident. You think, yeah, you can handle yourself. You can. You don't need to handle yourself.
Yeah, you don't
You
need
know,
to handle yourself. That's a very good point. Yeah.
exactly. You don't. I mean, we know if someone threw a drunk threw a punch, you just slip it and push them out of the way. Well, you hope you'd like to think so, but you don't. You've got nothing to prove, have you? You've got nothing to prove.
Great point.
But
So
yeah,
see
but
what you are dealing with now, Dave, as you're, what you're, tell me a little bit about the people who come to your classes then in terms of how somebody gets to be at your class. And, say some of the women, we're talking about grandkids and that. A couple of people with grandkids and all getting involved in that bit older. What do they like
yeah,
about the boxing part?
they love everyone loves to hit a pad because a
Yeah.
good coach is going to make you look good on the pads, aren't they? Let's face it. A sloppy coach is going to have the hand all over the place, or they're going to put too much pressure on you. But I think a good coach is going to make you look good on the pads, and
Perfect.
that's giving them confidence. So they're like, and then they like that little bit of where. You do feel a little bit sick. I shouldn't say that, but you've pushed yourself so hard. You think, oh,
No,
that was hard.
that's
10
very good.
seconds, 30 seconds later, you go again. And they go away and they think, I get emails all the time from new people saying, oh, I love that. When's your next session? I said, great, So we're doing a lot outside now. We do a boot, well, I won't say boot camp. We do an outside circuit camp on a Friday morning at 7 o'clock. And it's because we're allowed to do it now, it's brilliant. We can take the people outside. They're loving it. They're getting
Yeah.
down in the mud, they're doing the press ups and back up. And this is ladies who you would never think done press, would get down there. And,
I think
and,
that you've made a
and
good point there in terms of, saying people could feel a bit sick, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. You know why? Because I say to people, it'll boxing will find your weaknesses and push your strengths. It will push you further, and that's the mental health benefit, Dave. Because you're like, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, I could hit a boxing pad. You probably never. Some people have never actually, like to think never thrown a punch in your life, and certainly not, in anger. But you're hitting the boxing pad. You're like, wow, look at this. I feel strong. My arms feel strong. It's just a lift. You know what I mean? And it does push you on, and that's the mental health benefit of it.
100%. Another quick story. Sorry, I'll keep going on. That's when I
No,
start.
no,
I don't
no.
stop.
Listen, we're here for your experience, Dave. So no problem at all.
Yeah. One of the schools in just outside Luton, I know the teachers now because obviously the PE teachers come to train with me as well. The PE teachers love it; they get beastly. And from my old school days, I give the headmasters a bit of stick as well, and it's good for me. They don't they know it now. But so I'll get headmaster come. The person who knows he's the headmaster, he comes every time. I love it. I say you're going to experience it today. So it's a bit of a joke. But I went into his school about 2 years ago, and there was a group of kids that didn't like PE. So he said, look, can you help us out here? These kids are not PE people. They study, they like they're very intelligent kids and that. I want them to do boxing. I said, oh, that's different. So we took this group, slightly different. We took a different angle to them. They loved it. It was an 8-week course for them.
Right.
They come out of the classes. There was about 8 of them. They loved it. And when the eight weeks, they had to get permission to do it from the parents.
Yeah.
At the end of the 8 weeks, these kids absolutely loved it. Said, can we do it again? And these were kids who'd never done PE. But all of a sudden they were like throwing, I'm talking about throwing punches like this, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
They were throwing it. And they absolutely, and the headmaster said to me, that was a brilliant experience for them kids because they couldn't stop talking about it and they were looking forward to the next session.
Yeah.
But they never done PE before,
That's
and I think that's where boxing can actually discipline people to, and you can have fun. You have music in the background, and you have a little bit of fun, a little bit of a dance, and they take the mick out of me, and which is great. I can handle it, and that's what I'm here for, But it's I just we all do. We all love it. I keep saying we all love it. We all love training from the little kids to the adults to the ones who are giving it up and are coming back again.
Yeah.
And you've got to tell them they can't fight anymore, and they think, I can have a go, but they can't. It's like we all think we can have another punch up, but it's great.
I'm preaching the converted here, but I cannot overemphasize how important it is. Like you just said, to anybody, of any age, it can make a huge difference. I mean, I'm often concentrating on getting people out of trouble, finding that safe place where they can go into the boxing gym, you know, and the world that's in it, and getting them away from trouble. But, you know, it's the benefits to people of any age to get involved. So, yeah, as you said, somebody who's been involved in boxing, then coming back, somebody who's never been in a boxing gym before, once you experience it, once you have that lift, like I say, you get that bug and you just want to get back in there, and it's brilliant. It's just really, I mean, I know I'm going to sing from the hymn sheet from our side of things, and I'm going to, you know, everybody thinks they're the funniest guy in the room, but when it comes to boxing, I think it's one of the best sports about. I really do, in terms of accountability as well. You know, if you go in there and you feel good because you worked hard. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So whereas team sports, if you have a bad day, you can go, well, he didn't do that, she didn't do that. In boxing, no, it's on you. So you get the good and you get the bad. And if you get the bad, you're taught from a good coach that don't worry about that. Let's move on. Let's get some good stuff going again.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, there's nowhere to hide in the boxing ring, is there? There's nowhere to hide in. You get into that gym, you come in like that, you see the little frightened kid come into the gym. Weeks later, you see the same kid bouncing in. And it's great. Yeah. And I mean, say all the clubs. I mean, I've been to a couple of the new clubs. A lot of the coaches coming up now were obviously, I didn't know. I'm getting to know them now, and it's nice. It's nice to see. I haven't been to Hockwell Ring for a while yet, but I need to pop back in there because the last time I went in there, the place was buzzing.
Yeah.
And it was really. And I think I went to the gym in Luton Town Boxing Club. Is it?
Yeah. With Lee Dagdon.
I popped in there a while back, quite a while back. I popped in there, and another lovely place, another lovely gym. Lucy I used to hire the Lucy, you know, the Lucy Boxing Club now.
Yeah.
Well, I used to hire that of Active Luton and we used to do day boxing in there. So I used to hire the stuff in there, and we used to do a bit of day boxing. A couple of local lads used to finish work at lunchtime and come and train me on a Friday. And, you know, so, but those gyms, I mean, they're thriving at the minute, and so they should, you know.
Yeah. So, Dave, what advice would you give somebody now who says, you know, wants to give boxing a go? Say a woman wants to give boxing a go, doesn't want to go into a boxing gym, wants to come and see something like yourself. What advice would you give to somebody in that situation who's thinking about trying boxing and maybe contact someone like yourself?
Yeah, 100%. I'd say once you're thinking about it, you want to do it. So get in there. Just come up there. A bit of plug for myself. Give me a shout. I've got my own website out there. Yeah. Give me a shout. I'll talk them through it. We also do small group training where, like yourself, there's a couple of people who don't like to be in big groups. So we do small group training. And it keeps the cost very, very low for them as well. Keeps me going. And it gives them confidence. And then what I say after a couple of weeks, once they've done a small training group, come to the big group. Yeah. So, I mean, that's my job. I start at 5 o'clock in the morning and I finish sometimes 7 o'clock at night. And my wife, she goes mad sometimes. She goes, "Are you out again?" But she trains herself. She's in the spinning. I couldn't do it without her. She's dead trains as well, so she's great. And she can throw her right hand as well. But those people, I say to them, if you're thinking about it, you want to do it. So just take that step. And hands up, I'm telling you the truth now. I don't know anyone who started off with us and not come back. I mean, we've been going 20-25 years, and I still have people now who come from that long ago. Yeah. And they love it. We've got one fella, Bob, who's 73, still going strong. He's still going, and he'll drop. It's his 74th birthday on Friday. Yeah. Just letting everyone know in the class, if you're watching, he'll do 70. There's a rule with Boxfit: when it's your birthday, you have to do press-ups. He'll drop down and do 74 press-ups, and we'll video it as well. And we put it on the thing. So, I love that. But it's everyone gets behind you, but if you're thinking, like you said, if you're thinking about doing it, you want to do it. Come along. You don't have to go to the boxing. You don't. I still promote the boxing gym, but you don't have to go there. You can still come to another side of the boxing, like our side of it. It's kind of non-contact our side of it. But it's people doing the still pad work. They still get the odd clout from me when they drop their hands and stuff like that. But they're still doing that. They're still training like a fighter. I train any of my people. I train like a boxer, and I think it's the best fitness training you can get.
I totally agree, and it's perfect. And what you said there, Dave, is just, you've summed it up perfectly for me. It's, you know, from my point of view, with Boxing Saves Lives, it's easy to concentrate on everything that happens in the gym. It's easy to concentrate on young people, but actually, we must remember the important work that goes in by people like yourself outside of the realms of the boxing gym. And you know, it would be easy for me just to focus on, well, you know, this gym's doing that. But actually, anything involved with helping people enjoy boxing, no matter where it is, I'm up for it. I'm up for it, no matter what. You know what I mean? Because I believe in it. I know how passionate you are about sport, boxing, and how it helps. So anything at all is going to make a difference to people, especially people like Bob. Why wouldn't we want that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's probably listening to this now, then, and he'll be saying, "Yeah, get in there," you know. But
you're going to have some 74th birthday, yeah, Bob.
The guy's unfit. It's unbelievable fitness. You know, he's great. But it's, you know, but going back to the boxing, we still need to support our lads. We still need to support these people. So when the next show, I'll get Kay to come along when he's fighting. Hopefully soon. I'll get Kay to come along, and Linus. You know, Linus, another good fighter. I'll get them to come along and say, give us so many tickets. Let's get them out there, and I'll get the people to come along because it's a night out. It's a night out, you know.
Yeah.
And we'll get to meet people like yourself and have a chat with you. Yeah,
I'll be running around with a camera as usual, like looking flustered. That's what I do at boxing shows.
I'll be looking for you. I do love a camera. I'll be looking for you. But yeah, but it's great. I mean, I'm looking forward to listening to Paul's interview when you do with Paul.
Yeah.
Because he's a good lad. He's a good lad, Paul.
Guy, yeah, he's very shy. Paul's hopefully coming out Wednesday, going out next week. But I had to ring him yesterday on the hop and pretend I was talking about the gym reopening and actually trying to corner him to get him into the interview. So that was quite good. So
tell him again. Never on time. He's never on time. You know that.
All right.
That's what you'll learn that about Paul. He's so laid back. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's not great because I'm the type. I'm there 10 minutes early wherever we go.
Yeah.
But Paul just, oh, how you doing? And we were just thrown up. But yeah, there's some good lads. Good characters. I mean, we've got some good lads. And girls, obviously.
Yeah, and we you know, we talk about these people like Kay and that, and you know, people watching home, and Paul and that. These are really dedicated fighters and coaches like yourself who put so much time into the sport. You know what I mean? It's incredible. They all work full-time jobs as well. Do you know what I mean? Like Kay is working for a pupil referral unit as well in Bedfordshire too.
Yeah.
And Paul Webb works, you know, at the council and that. These guys, you know, working jobs and then dedicating their lives to opening boxing gyms in the evenings during the week and then going away to shows. It's incredible, and it just, you know, we have a laugh at them. We always a great positivity with them, and it's mad how these things just go on, and people don't realise the work that's being put in. It's mad.
100%. Another guy I got to mention, Jordan Reynolds.
Yeah.
What potential that kid's got. Yeah. I watch his Instagram stuff, and he loves the media, and he's great. I love watching him. Some people say, "Oh, that Jordan Reynolds is on again." Brilliant. He's promoting himself. Great. That's what you need to do.
He truly inspires people. It's a great point, and he really inspires people.
Lovely kid.
You know, get anybody involved in boxing. He's a great guy. The thing is with Jordan is when I started boxing Luton, he kind of had it sussed, and I often think to myself, maybe I should be doing more interviews with Jordan. But I was like, but Jordan had it so sussed from the start. He had all his social media sorted. He had all his sponsors sorted. He's a professional, even though he was fighting amateur. Do you know what I mean? He had everything sorted. And he really is inspiring to people, young and old, in order to get involved in boxing. We shouldn't forget that. But just like you said, it's great having him in the time. We're so
I'm addicted to watching him because I think, what's he going to do next? And it's great. And I hear him singing, and I know his uncle as well. His uncle's a bit of a character as well.
Right.
And when I used to watch the two of them down Venue 360, I used to meet them and have chats with them. And they're characters, and it's great. But George, let's face it, you've got to promote yourself. Come on. Yeah. No one else is going to do it. Well, people will do it, but you've got to get in there. You've got to be on it all the time. And it's great. You know, brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, people like that. And I just want to, I've got a passion for helping Kay. I really want to get him up there because I see that kid when he trains, his dedication. He's very pleasant. Well, they all are. Don't get me wrong, but I just Kay. I don't know. I just want to get him up. I want that kid to do so well. You know that.
Yeah, and you know, I think with Kay, from my perspective, is that from following him. With Kay, you know, look, boxing when you're at the very top could be a lot about money and all this and that. But Kay, I always thought with Kay, it was always just about winning that belt, just getting that one belt. Because he's kind of a different breed when it comes to boxing. Maybe now he might want to get some money because his career will soon be finished and he needs to, you know, make the most of it because he's got a family. But all the way now, he just wanted that belt, didn't he? Just to have a physical belt.
Yeah. But now he's got it. Now people like all the top promoters, give him a chance. Bloody hell, give him that chance. Because it's people like that. I mean, he travels down to London for training. He comes to us for training. He'll train where he can. But he just needs that help, you know, and he just needs that little lift, and he'll get it.
Yeah. Well,
we just got to
thank you so much for joining me today, mate. It's fantastic. I'm going to put this together. It's going to go out on YouTube on Tuesday, and I'll send you a link over. Yeah, I'll put a link over to you, and we'll get it shared out there. But listen, thank you so much. You give me a great perspective of, you know, the history of boxing to begin with, you know, and this is things that can be easily forgotten. And, you know, your perspective is how you can help people, both young and old, the good that it gives people for their mental health, and also how much you want to continue and help to, you know, inspire people now. And you've said that without even knowing you're saying it, because you're just talking about boxing passionately, and I'm here and I'm like, you don't know the work you're doing as well. It sounds awesome what you're doing, and I really, really appreciate it, Dave. Thanks so much. And it's mad that we haven't actually met before, but we've had this big, long conversation. So I'm looking forward to it. That's what boxing does to you. It's like your friends straight away, aren't you? Yeah. It's great. No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I'll make sure people watch this, the YouTube. It's nice to see yourself on the show, isn't it? Thanks. But yeah, thanks for anything you ever need, any of the guys, they know where to call me anyway. Like yourself, if you need anything, just give me a shout. Oh, this is what we do, yeah? Thanks very much. No problem. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.